Hey, everybody, you know the amazing woman sitting beside me, right? If you don't, you should. If you've not already met one of my valued WOW community VIP members, Miss Meg Anderson, aka Meg Tucker, aka Cook with Meg, TV personality, radio personality. If you're looking for personality, she's got tons of it, which
Oh,
is awesome. And I'm here today because, Meg, you have created, and I'm going to date myself because this is like a 1980s movie that I'm going to quote.
okay.
You have created the Harry Met Sally version of business of I'll have what she's having. You
Mine
really
is
have.
mine is a couple of things in a diner, but yes. Thank you.
Exactly.
I'm so happy we're chatting. This is a get real chat. So thank you for having me, Michelle.
Oh, I'm excited. And you know what? This really is the let's get real about business conversation with Meg and Michelle. Like, what does it take to run and build a six-figure international business that serves people across the world, thousands of people across the world, and then do it from ground zero and start it in a freaking pandemic. Like, who does that? Who does that? This lady beside me does. So I had the absolute pleasure of working with Meg in the WOW Achieve program. I walked alongside her for a year as her coach and mentor, and it was an absolute honor and privilege to do so. But like any great player and any great coach relationship, it's the coach that revs you up in the locker room. It's the coach that gives you the strategies and kicks you in the ass and says, now you go play on the field. And
Mhm.
then we want to find out, okay, well, what does playing on the field look like? Because you can have the best coach in the world, but if you're not playing on the field and putting time and effort into your business, you don't get that Harry met Sally moment of, I have what she's having. So Meg
Mhm.
kindly joined me when I reached out to Meg and say, hey, do you want to have a real conversation about this amazing experience you've had over the last year? And get real about how much work it really took to
Yeah.
build this amazing business that not only you impact people across North America, but you've also replaced and increased the income you were earning as a full-time employee and crushing it. Now you're on TV, you're becoming a household brand. Would you share, first of all, a little bit about the backstory of who is Meg Anderson, and then tell your story of how you came up with Cook with Meg?
Yes, I would love to. And thank you for watching. Michelle and I had a really wonderful year together. And it was so neat. And your timing is always so good, Michelle, because I had just been thinking about, holy crap, it's been a year. And where were we? Well, we weren't. That's the thing, we weren't. So if I go back to March 13th, Friday, March 13th is when the world closed. And 10 days later, Cook with Meg was born. So
Wow.
prior to that, my business was Meg Tucker Talk. So I was a radio broadcaster for 14 years and then was let go. Really rocky industry, and I'm glad I'm out of it now, but it was tough at the time. So I started my own business where I was doing brand partnerships. So having had this bears mentioning, I already had a really great, I want to say, maybe community presence. I wasn't huge on social media, nor am I still, but I had really great relationships in the Red Deer area. And then actually, I want to say Alberta and even back to Toronto where I used to live. So I had really good relationships in place. And I started to work with different brands and basically replicating a lot of what I did on radio when we would be on location. So if you ever see a radio person on location and they're, hey, we're here for the afternoon and blah, blah, blah. I was able to kind of replicate that on site, but for online. So my world was already living online from 2018 to 2020. So I had a couple of years already doing Zooms, already doing Facebook Live videos, already doing Instagram Lives. And right before the pandemic hit, I was actually teaching a workshop that you took, Michelle. And it was making that connection online. And how weird that was, my workshop that was called like how to connect online and forget that there's a camera and really how to connect with people. So find your voice, I believe we called it. So when the world closed and you and I had been working together for a few months already, I think we started in
I think we started in November 2019 because I was so amazed that you were willing to do a business intensive day right after massive knee surgery. And
I did it from bed.
you were in bed working with me on what your next step was for your business when you actually couldn't physically take a next step.
Right. I totally couldn't. You're right. And so Michelle helped me. We knew my business was doing brand partnerships. One of those was with Egg Farmers of Alberta already. So I was doing a little bit of cooking. And just for those who don't know me, I was on MasterChef Canada season 2 in the top 25, got my apron. And I also created an original kids cooking show that I pitched to Shaw TV and did 2 seasons with them. So I have an entertainment background and then I had a broadcasting background. So we were kind of merging it all together. And how do I offer these services and be the voice or the face to a lot of brands that want nothing to do with being online? So that's kind of where we were. And then the world closed, and talking to Michelle, talking to another person in my village, it kind of came up, what about cooking classes? I mean, you're already on Zoom. What if you offered to teach kids? They're all at home. What if you did some cooking classes? So it was hilarious. So I remember going into my kitchen. I'm in a different house now, but we were in our old house, and I filmed this video, but I had all the equipment. I had just taught this workshop. So I had my tripod, I had my lights, I had all the stuff. And here I am looking at the camera saying, hey, I'm Meg Tucker, and I want to cook with you guys. And if you want to take cooking classes, we want you to sign up. It's $5 a class. And I was doing it every day. Like I was crazy. So I got families to sign up and we put it out on Facebook, and that's how it started. So looking back, because you know how Facebook pops up with your memories, I had 27, which is really good. I had 27 my first week, 27 families. So we Zoomed in, I think it was like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday or Thursday or something. And we cooked a different dish just like this. So I could see into their kitchens. They could see into mine. Here we are. We're making our food. I'm making pretty collages at the end of the day. They sent me email transfers. So I was getting all these email transfers. Yes, I had a business bank account. We were talking bare bones, like, where do I send my money? I mean, and I felt at the time, like, what am I doing? This is really kind of funny. And then week 1 happened. Oh, and by the way, I was sending out all of the recipes and the list of food items that they would need via MailChimp. So I was creating all these accounts every day and then sending it out to the group, big group email. So it went on for 2 weeks.
Amazing.
More and more and more. And then finally I was like, okay, MailChimp is too much work. That's Michelle. I think do you remember, do you remember at your WOW gala? That was the first event that I attended, by the way, for WOW. That was my intro to WOW. Mm-hmm. And when Michelle Romanoff was talking, and she was saying how businesses go through iterations. So what you start with, and is never where you end up.
No, and anything in between.
And everything in between. So there have been many iterations of Cook with Meg. I mean, we weren't even called I think we might have been Cook with Meg, but it was like, oh, that's a fun hashtag. So we did it for a couple of weeks. And then I think my need to change the method and grow always came from frustration and me complaining to you, I can't do this anymore. It's too much work.
And it's like, okay, let's build a system for that.
Right. Because I was like, it's too much, Michelle. I'm me. I'm only me. I am literally the talent, the cook, the chef, the admin, I was all of it. And so, and I still had people saying like, oh, that's fun. Are you still doing that cooking?
Meg,
yeah, really fun.
Now that we have a picture of where it all started, like literally it started with ground zero, this idea of an online cooking class for kids and families.
100% ground zero.
Ground zero. Now we are, my gosh, like 11 months later. Only 11 months.
11 months. Yeah. So, well, we were a year, March 23rd. So March 23rd, we kicked off. So we're 1 year. And yeah, if we go all the way to the end.
Yeah, so let's go all the way to the end, because I want to do the, where did you start?
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Where am I now?
And I also want to go back and say, what did it take? Because I know, having walked alongside you, the business success fairy doesn't come along, with her Cinderella carriage and the magic Wonder Woman shoes and her wand and goes, poof, you are now successful. You've built a 6-figure business. You're now serving around the world. You have this massive audience. Poof, there you go.
Wouldn't that be great?
Doesn't happen. But no. I really want to get a really good picture of, where is Cook with Meg now?
So Cook with Meg now is...
So Meg, I know you started at absolutely ground zero. And now, like seriously, you are generating that hero business of serving across North America. You've built 6 figures plus, replace your previous income and then some, working on your own time. Where is Cook with Meg now?
Cook with Meg now is actually its own registered business, which makes me happy. It operates under Meg Tucker Talks, so that's new. We're in our 2nd year of summer camp planning, and I will say that April 1st, we opened registration, and as of April 3rd, we'd sold out 30% already, which that makes me happy because, guys, Michelle will tell you, every time I build something and I put it out there, I'm like, what if they don't come? What if they don't show? But they do show. And so I'm never relaxed, but I think I've been told that's an entrepreneur, but I'm feeling confident. Where are we now? 2,500 families have cooked with Meg. We have definitely all of Canada. There are a couple provinces I'm still waiting on, but most of the provinces, I'd say 10, we're in about 15, 20 states in the US. And that's a bit of Facebook ads, but that's also friends telling friends and Google. We're on Google, like we are on Google. People are actively searching. And when I ask, how did you hear about us? It's Google. So when I get a family signing up from Massachusetts or Pennsylvania or New Jersey singing praises of Cook with Meg, I'm like, this is wild. So we have merch, which doesn't really sell, but it's there. It's up there if people want it. We're going to write another cookbook. We do an end of camp cookbook. So I say we're small, but we're mighty, but we are growing, and we're growing this community. And I think my biggest source of pride for Cook with Meg is just that it's so much more than just learning how to make a cake. My whole mantra is we are awesome. And we say it at the end of every class, whether you're 6 or 106. I think if you're 106, you need to hear it even more. And it's building that kitchen confidence. And it's just such a, I don't want to say a safe place, but it's just such an awesome experience to just be there for the love of food and connecting over something we all do, which is eat and love food. So I feel like from a hippie dip standpoint, it's soul filling for so many reasons. It's so much more than just how many classes can I sell. So that's probably where I am most proud of where we are today with it.
That is amazing. Now I know the business success fairy godmother.
Where is she?
Right, does not come along in her Cinderella carriage with bringing you the magic Wonder Woman shoes to make all of this happen and go poof, and you're instantly successful. None of us who have built 6 figures or more in our businesses know that to be true. And so that's why I really wanted to talk to you today. It's like, you know what? Let's get real about the blood, the sweat, the tears that go into building something that when people come to me knowing that I've been a part of your journey saying, hey, I want you to give me what Meg has. I'm like, okay, well, let's get real. Let's talk about how hard Meg worked. And let's talk about the days where, you're calling me celebrating and so excited, and the days you're calling in tears and you're thinking, I don't know, the ducks are quacking in your head, all of those things. So now that we know that you started from ground zero during a pandemic, and this is where you are now, simply 11 months later. We're not talking 10 years, but you probably feels like it.
Yeah.
You put 10 years worth of effort into it to make it happen this quickly.
Yeah.
So let's get real. What did the last 11 months look like? How many hours did you put into your business? Like, what did a day in a life or a week in a life or a month in a life of Meg look like as you built this?
So it's a lot. It is a lot. And I will tell you that I have now somebody who I write all the recipes, but then when the recipe document, Google Doc with 18 or 36, it's usually 18 recipes a month that are mine, that I find inspiration from, change them, make them my own. They're things we love. They're things from my childhood, or they're things on trend. So the recipes all get written. And I do have someone on Kim Free's team who transposes them and creates them into posts. So someone might think like, oh, well, that's cool. You have someone to do that for you. Yes, but I still have to write them all. So I'm going to just break down some of my tasks, and then I'm going to tell you how much time it takes. So that's one big thing. Social media, I do have some help with one of my social media accounts, but that's from a sales perspective, as far as like, what are upcoming classes? What are camps? What are some takeaway tips? But I will say that with anything social media, I've had to provide all of that stuff. So when you see a really cool tip about parchment paper and always having it on hand, that was a Google Doc that I created with 55 tips that now I had to come up with, and now she has to use. So I have help, but the essentially I have had to create it to start with. The merchandise, me. The class ideas, me. When you take a Cook with Meg class, this is what has gone into it. I come up with a recipe, I write the recipe goes to Victoria. I go to my system, which is Shopify. I have to go to Canva and create the image for the class. Class image gets created. Go to Shopify, create a product, figure out the cost, figure out what's involved with the class, how many classes I'm going to offer. Then I have to go to my website. It's a WordPress website. I go to the back end of my website and I create a new page, which is called the hub for that class. So that when Michelle signs up for my churros class on May the 8th, Michelle will sign up she'll buy it from my website. It triggers Shopify to send her a welcome letter, which I also wrote. And that welcome letter has a link, which links back to that web page that I made that's going to give her everything she needs, including a Zoom link, which I had to book all the Zoom links. So for me to create a class just on the back end is probably 2 hours. And I've taught 600 classes. So if you do the math on all of the back end admin work, plus all the teaching, plus all the being on camera, plus I do cook at your own pace packs, which are all pre-recorded, I probably on average work about 60 hours a week, 60 or 70 hours a week. And it's not about working in your business and on your business. And I know we talk an awful lot about that. It is just the sheer volume of work that I have to do. So someone could say, well, how could we take some of that off your plate? And we have, in as much as those 60 hours would have been 90, because last summer I was posting all my own recipes and I was doing all my socials. So I'm finding little ways to farm things out. But at the end of the day, this is not sitting around eating bonbons. This is, up at a reasonable hour. I used to get up at 3:45 a.m. for 14 years. So I get up at 7:30 or 8:30, get my day started. But oftentimes it's 9 o'clock at 10 o'clock at night or 7 at night. And I go to my office and I'm like, great, now I can sit and actually do a good 2 or 3 hours worth of work. And that's all the time.
Yeah.
So is that going to be forever? No, but that is what I have put in to grow this, plain and simple. So it's not for the faint of heart.
Right? Well, that's why there are so many business support centers and people like me to say, hey, let me support you. Let's work a strategy. Let's build this. And because you don't work the normal 9 to 5, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. And I love the fact that you said, right now I've reduced my working in and on my business to about 60 hours a week.
Yes.
But I started at 90. Like this time last year, you were at 90 hours a week.
I know.
So for all the people who are just starting and saying, you know what, I want what she has. And I love the fact that, let's get real. You work 90 hours a week. You're still working 60 hours a week. I know that, I did the same building WOW. I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, I think I'm almost at 40. I'm so excited. But you know what? If you're watching this video up to this point, we're recording this on a Saturday morning.
And as soon as this finishes, I'm doing a private birthday party for 2 hours. And then when that finishes, I have to go back and proof all my July recipes, all my August recipes. And I have probably about 16 items on my to-do list, which I want to get finished. And on top of that, I'm getting certified at culinary school for a level that I wanted to achieve. So I'm putting in probably another 20 hours of my own schooling every week. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot, but I'll tell you something, Michelle, I have a nice cozy office. I'm in the kitchen right now, but I have a nice cozy office. I know that if my brain just starts to implode and I just think like I can't anymore today, that's actually okay. And I do sort of say, we're good. We'll pick this up tomorrow. That I don't have like a boss over me or punching a time clock. Like I am my own. So yeah, I need to learn a little more balance, but I'm also really excited because look where we are.
Right. It's rewarding to have something like you've built.
Yes.
And then I can't tell you the amount of people who have said, Michelle, I really want to sign up for your Achieve program because that's what I heard Meg Tucker did. And, I want what she's having. But and quite often it's like, okay, how many hours a week are you prepared to work? Yeah. What does your work-life balance look like? So I'm going to ask you that question in this last year. And I know you struggled with balance as you build, as all entrepreneurs do.
Yep. Yep.
Work-life balance is for employees, not for entrepreneurs. Get over that. But what did your year look like because you have a husband that we all adore? You have family and stepkids and a community that loves you, and your amazing fur babies, all of the things. So it's not like, you are secluded and the only thing you have to do with your entire life is build this business.
Yeah, I will say that COVID and being indoors has helped. As much of an extrovert as I can be, and am, and most people probably see me as a total extrovert. I really am a homebody, and I love being home, and I'm married to a homebody. Our son's a homebody. We have a black lab that's very chill. So we're all pretty content where we are. And I feel like that definitely helps. I force myself, and you don't know this, but you'll be proud. So I force myself now to be better at scheduling. I was doing 2 a day. It's like 2 a day, like football, but I was doing 2 a day often. And now when I look at the calendar and I get a notification saying somebody wants to book a private event, I will actually go back and say, I can't that day, I'm already booked, but how about next weekend? So I am trying to space things out. So it's only 1 a day, not 2. And also I do 4-week sessions with kids and teens for baking and cooking. So what was happening was February was turning into sort of half of February, half of March, half of April. So I thought we need to get this ship back on track. So I'll take 2 weeks off and then start up again at the beginning of a new month. And so when I say I take 2 weeks off, people think, again, back to the bonbons, but it's just allowing me to not have to be in my kitchen physically teaching, and I can be at my desk kind of putting a little bit more brain time to moving forward. Like right now, not to date this video, but right now I am, and I'm so proud, I am officially scheduled, built all that webpage stuff I told you, all the Shopify, all the welcome letters, camp. I am locked and loaded until September 1st. So I said to my husband, I said, what am I okay, so once these 4 things need to get done, once they're finished, what am I going to do with my time? I don't even know what to do with myself, but it's going to be cool because my brain's not going to be cluttered, and I'm going to be able to just sort of sit and dream and think, well, what does fall look like? Which to me is pretty cool, because as a business, I feel like the whole first year was just constantly trying to play catch up. And now I've caught up and I'm a little ahead. So now I can sit back and say, okay, with a rational brain and a relaxed brain and maybe a little more rested, how do we see Cook with Meg looking for the fall? As opposed to just, and that's key. I think I really want to share that. If you're drowning because you're just constantly trying to get caught up, it's hard to plan for the future, right? So whether you need to bring in a whole bunch of extra help or just really nose to the grindstone for a couple months, get her done. Because once it's in place, you actually can step back and see all that you've done.
I love that. Beautiful segue into the next question I was going to ask you, by the way, is you, and the way I try and help my clients, you've seen me do this when we walk through the Achieve program or any other program that we work with. It's changing you from COE, which is chief of everything, which is where you started. And it's where we all start. We're chief of everything. We're doing the bookkeeping. We're doing the marketing, social media, email marketing, developing the products, all of the things of chief of everything, to moving forward into really being the CEO of your business. And you said, it's like, okay, now let's look at who was on your team when you started? And as you developed Cook with Meg over the last 11 months, who's on your team now?
So it started with me. Well, it started with you and I, because you were my coach. And I want to say something really, really key here. I worked with Michelle for a year. I also have a strategy consultant that we touch base every couple of weeks. And I cannot recommend enough having a Michelle, because and there are times where even with the girl that I chat with now, I think, well, what am I paying her for? That's not what I want to say, but you'll know what I mean. Like, what is this money? What am I spending this money on? And then I'll hang up a phone call with you or Julie, and I'll kind of just sit there and think, well, that helped me work through a lot of brain confusion. And as a business owner and a solo business owner, my husband, he can only hear so much. He has his own full-time business work. And so for me, having you on my team, and for anyone who's considering it, I can't say it enough, just having, if nothing else, a sounding board to say, okay, I'm thinking about doing blank. Can we talk this through? And then that's what was so cool about our chats. Summer camp was born this way. You helped me, I think, bring Kim Free on to help with social for the summer. So it started with you and I. Then as things got a little bigger, and none of us thought summer camp, like who thought that was going to take off? That's what literally took us beyond Canada. And so then we brought on someone to help with social media. So I don't like control freak. I don't like that word. But I like to have my hand on everything. My business is called Cook with Meg. So it's hard for me to kind of let go of everything. But I knew that if I could bring somebody in and have a Zoom with them and really like interview them and know that they're a good fit for me, I'm okay to delegate. I could easily be a bonbon lady. I could easily, as long as I know that the person who's coming onto the team gets it and who is willing to care as much as I do. That's the key for me. So we brought on social media, and that was wonderful, because I actually one day went to read a comment and I was like, when did I say that? Oh my God, I didn't say that. They said that for me. And that to me was huge. And that's a real get real moment here. Okay. So if you can find someone who can be your voice, oh my gosh, just what a lovely thing to be able to let that go a little. And then my team grew in little ways. Like I ended up finding a great copy place, and they've just been my copy place ever since. So I ended up, whenever I have something, I just get it all created. I email it to them. They call me to pick it up. Done. Boom. I don't have to worry about it. Bookkeeper and accountant came on board. That was something that you and I talked through as well, because, oh boy, did I not want to even go down that road. I live my personal life with Wade in a spreadsheet. When it came to business, I was pretty good. I used FreshBooks. I used FreshBooks for all my invoicing, tracked everything as much as I could, but I got angry. Remember how angry I would get? Because again, it was like, I don't have time. And you said to me, we have to figure out what your time is worth and put a dollar value on what your time is worth. And that also has been the guiding force in me deciding to let go of things or bring people on. So to that end, I'll just say this. We brought on an accountant and she does the bookkeeping. It's still a little bit on me because I still have to shove them all in an envelope and get them to her. And I'm not always great, but we do, and everything's fine. And then I will also say that I officially stopped doing social media for others. I had 3 clients this whole year, and I just literally in the last few days made my phone calls to them to say, It's been wonderful, and I will be forever grateful. I am now going to pass the baton, and I actually was able to get Kim Free some new clients. But in doing so, it was pretty cool, and it was pretty liberating, and I'm very proud of myself because I was able to let the work go and let the money go. But you taught me once again in the Achieve program that I needed to learn to not come from a place of scarcity, right? Because I would panic. Like today, I have not had any sales, but I'm not panicked. I mean, I suppose if I sat here and thought about it, I'd be like, oh no, it's all crumbling. But I have to remember that it's fine. It's fine. And letting go of something else is going to now free up this and this. And just, it's fine. That's a long answer, but I do love
You know what? That's a perfect answer. Because if I were to summarize our conversation, because I know you have to run to your next class, is anyone who's looking for I'll have what she's having in her business.
Yep.
First of all, connect with someone who can support you, who can walk with you, whether it's me or somebody else. Connect with someone who will walk with you and will talk you off the ledge those days where you're thinking the world is crumbling, but it's not. And secondly, get real about the expectations of the growth you want versus the time and energy and money you're willing to put in to get it.
That's so key too, because Michelle, do you say that this is a fair statement that I don't think at any point in the year we worked together, we never really focused on money. I don't think we ever did really once. And for me, like when I look back at like, what did I make last year or what did I bring in? Because, there's all the expenses and stuff, but I was excited about it, but it was never the goal. And when people say to me, like, what can I do for a business? First of all, you have to find something that you love and you're willing to stay up till 11 o'clock at night working on. And you have to figure out like, what do people need and how can I what's the problem and how can I solve that problem for people? So it's not going to work. This model doesn't really just transfer over to every type of business. But I think that, being a solution for people. And it's more about, for me, it's more about like the creating of the community. We have a private Facebook group called The Kitchen, Cook with Meg Kitchen. And once you start taking classes, you can join. So it's a private group. We have 350 families, and that could be thousands if it were an open public group, but it's not. It's just a private group. Mm-hmm. And so for us, for me, that's what's important. I'm always doing, if it's your birthday, people don't even know this, but when it's your birthday, I email you a free class because you're awesome. So it's coming up with, for me, it's been so much fun coming up with just fun, creative ways to treat the community like we're all part of a family. So I don't really run this like a business. It's run like a business, but I don't run it like a business. I run it like we're a big family.
I love that. Because really, it's heart-centered, heart-centric, client, customer-centric. And yes, the money does matter. And you do need to be focused, like I taught you through the Achieve program. Be focused on where your sales at. Track them. Read your financial statements. But you know what? Don't panic if you don't hear cha-ching on your phone today.
Which, by the way, we've turned that off. Because it totally shifts. This is a get real. It totally shifts you, and you become obsessed with not making enough money, or this is going to fail. And when if one more person says to me, do you think when the pandemic's over, like your business will be done? I will punch them right in the face, because you know what? That has nothing to do. It may have started during, but it has nothing to do with that. And I think, I heard Dr. Jody Carrington. Do you know her?
Love her. Love.
love. And she made a really cool point on one of her little lives, which I'll just say. She said something about, it's so important that we realize as businesses that this is always going to be now and forever how business is done. It may not be the only way, but we need to remember that doing a pivot to online isn't just for now, right? So even if your business does become, like mine will never become in person. Sorry, I won't come to your house and cook, but I will always be online. But a lot of businesses will go back to serving clients face to face. But what I said in an article too that I wrote for someone, I said, you know what, I really hope that we take a lot of what we've learned in this past year and adopt that forever in our business models, whether it's just still connecting as best we can online and giving people an outlet online.
Absolutely.
Not everybody is an extrovert, not everyone is banging on the door to get back out with the 50 and 60 friends. A lot of people just really want to be kind of comfy and cozy and in their safe space. So maybe think about that for your own business. Like, is there something in my business that I could do that maybe isn't a direct cha-ching, but in the long run is going to grow your community? And I think that for me is my tip.
I love that. So I'm going to ask you one more before we wrap up. Anyone who is looking at you and then comes to me and says, I want what Meg achieved. That was why I called it the Achieve program, because you actually achieve something.
Yep.
But they want I have, like I said, the Harry met Sally moment. I'll take what she's having, please.
Yep.
What would you say to that person?
I would say go for it, but go into it knowing that it's not overnight. And it's a lot of hard work, and not just, okay, I'm doing it, I'm going to put in the hours. It's actually like 7 coiled notebooks of thoughts and plans and things that didn't work and things that could work and things that maybe we could do, but it doesn't make sense to do now. So let's hold off for a few months and little baby steps. It is about putting yourself out there in a big way. We're in an online world, so I think you have to 100% commit that you're not going to give a shit about your lipstick, your eyebrows, your outfit, your shape, or your size. And you have to be willing to just put yourself out there as you. And I think people, even more than ever, can see through it. They can see through all the BS. They can see through it because we can get all the answers we want by a click. You could click 1,000,005 chocolate cake recipes, but why are you taking a chocolate cake class from me? That's what you need to figure out for your business, right? Whatever your business is, you sell this, you offer this, you teach this. Why should people buy it from you? And that to me is, if you can answer that question and you can figure that out, I think you're already on your way. And not to be afraid if there are, like, because when I started, nobody else was teaching cooking. And now everyone is teaching online cooking, but they're not me. And you said that to me. And that's one of the main things that I took from you, Michelle, is just swim in your own damn lane. Don't worry about the others. So find something that makes you unique. And nobody else can copy that because it's you. So if you've got that and you've got the determination, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the money you're paying Michelle. Don't worry about the money you're paying a social media person. Don't worry about the money you're paying an accountant. And don't worry about the money coming in. It will all happen, but you just have to really, truly go for it and just cry a lot, because that does.
Don't worry about the money you'll spend on the good, lotion infused
Yes.
Kleenex. You're going to need a case.
Yes, yes. And it's tiring and it's ridiculous. And there are days where I'm like, this is it. I'm going to do this for another couple years and then I'm out. I'm like, but it's mine. So create something you're proud of. And if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm on a hamster wheel and I got to get off, then maybe it's time to get off. Or maybe it's time to really meet with Michelle and sit and think, what else could we do? Like, right? I didn't think we'd be doing summer camp. So what is figure out what your business is and where you want it to go, and don't be afraid to go, but be prepared for work because it's a lot of work. That's my get real.
I love it. Thank you. Like when I had this idea of like, all right, we need a get real moment. Like there are some people out there that need to hear this. They need the wake up call of, you know what? It doesn't happen overnight. It's not easy. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of success. There's champagne moments, and there's Kleenex moments.
Yeah, and I want to just say one final thing too. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I am not a global success. Those are the Rachel Rays of the world, which I'm coming for you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
We have a plan for that.
There's room for all of us. But what I will say is like, optics are one thing, and don't get discouraged by the optics, right? Like when you see someone's beautifully curated Instagram account, meanwhile, you're at home and it's that time of the month and you're crying and you're angry and you're frustrated and nothing fits and you look it's just not a good day. So what I want to just say is, don't look at my business and just say, I want what she's having because it's puppies and rainbows. It's really not all the time. And I would say, even I don't celebrate like I should. And you know that, Michelle. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you do own a pair of diamond earrings now, and you're welcome.
I do. So and just know that, like, try not to get sucked into that world of social media where you think, well, why can't I have 50,000 followers? I don't either, right? But I know that my 4,000 or 5 or 3 or whatever it is, say this. Imagine right now, we weren't in COVID. Imagine sitting in a room like Michelle. How many members are in WOW?
We have about 100 VIPs.
Okay. So imagine sitting in a room with all 100 women. And that's what I think to myself when I think like, okay, well, my Instagram needs to be terrible word. My Instagram, why can't I have 25,000? Well, I don't know. How about I fill a room with 4,000 people right now? How would that make you feel to know that when you speak, they're listening? Are you kidding me? So whether you have 100 followers or 100,000 followers, don't get sucked in by these vanity numbers, because oftentimes it's just not real, true engagement. And that is what I do want to tell people, because I think people look at social media and they measure their business success based on how many followers they have. And that's not accurate. So
I love that. Wonderful tips. Amazing story of all the roller coaster ride that entrepreneurship is, the highs, the lows. Meg, I just have to say, first of all, how incredibly proud I am of the work you put in to this amazing opportunity. It was an absolute honor to walk alongside you, and look at you today. And I'm going to take you back to the very first business intensive day we had, and the strategy went off the table. We totally worked on mindset, and wow, if the Meg Tucker I'm talking to today could go back to that first day with us and tell you this story, it would be
I would not even believe it. And I say that if you told me a year ago oh, by the way, this is where this is where you're going to grow it. And it's year one. Like, that's where I also get pretty jazzed, because I'm like, it's year one.
Right?
Happen like 5 years from now, where will we
Look
be?
out, Rachel Ray. Meg Tucker is coming for you. That's all I can say. Meg, thank you so much for joining me for, I guess, what's going to be the new wow, let's get real moment.
I can't wait to watch the next one, because I think this is so important. I think this is, you know what? I feel like, and I don't wear makeup. I have put on lipstick, but I realize now I shouldn't have even done that, because I think these need to literally be super stripped down. Like, guys,
Right?
this is real. This is the real talk. And I think it's important. What you do is so important, Michelle. You're like Mary Poppins with your, you just keep pulling out these ideas. And I'm like, I love that about you.
Oh, Meg, thank you so much. So this actually might be a thing. It could be a monthly thing. It could be a quarterly thing where I interview real entrepreneurs who've done the real work, getting real results. And we're going to call it the Wow, Let's Get Real Talk.
I love it. And it's like, where were you? Where are you now? And what did it take to get there?
Yeah.
Come on.
Because we all need to learn from people who have walked before us. It's just like, I like cross country skiing and hiking and all the things. It's so much easier to follow somebody else's track than to have to cut track on your own.
I will say too, and I know that I'm not like formally on your team, but if anything I said today either resonates or you have questions on, please, I'm in the VIP. So just drop me a line, because if you have questions, I would love. I'm learning how to garden this year, and I found this guy on YouTube, and he did this video, and he said the 10 biggest mistakes that you can make as a beginner, and said, I'm sharing them because I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. No, I'm going to be different. I want you to go through what I went through, because it will help you learn. But if you have questions, I will totally answer your questions, because I'm still on the path, but I'll help you.
I love that. Meg, you're an inspiration. And you are inspiring others to have what you're having, which is heartfelt success, an amazing brand, an amazing business, and still being true to who you are as a person, which is just, you are a woman who wows.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you, Michelle. And with that, I'm about to go cook 3 cups of butter into sea salt caramel butter bars for a 9-year-old girl's birthday party.
Oh, save some for me. Okay, Meg, thank you. I'll let you go. Bye for now.
Bye.